All right, welcome back. It's still Money Line with Dancy. Now, let's move over to our second guest. Earlier on, we're watching Aminu Gwadabede, who is the President, Association of Bureau de Change Operators in Nigeria. But, of course, connection failed us at that point. Now, let's quickly take Honorable Sergius Ogun, a former member of the House of Representatives. He joins us from Benin. Good morning, Honorable, and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Honorable. Honorable, please, I would like to actually know what your sentiments are regarding what's been happening lately in our economy. Let me find out where your mind is. Then we'll take it from there, because there's been really a raft of many economic issues. Which one we will take now? Which one I will take? So I shouldn't just preempt you. Just tell me where your concerns are. As of now, we have quite a lot. Which ones are your concerns, and what are you inspired by?
Well, the president, being a finance person, is throwing all manner of things at the economy. Although people will criticize, you know how it is when you are not well and you see a medical doctor, till you get well, you don't believe the doctor is doing anything. So I think his diagnosis so far, I don't know, might be gaining traction. It might take a while for us to see the results, but I am particular about the industry I came from, as the oil and gas industry. I don't think he has taken the right steps. And of course, it will also take quite some time for whatever decision he's taking today to materialize. And unfortunately, the rising price of crude oil has not helped his number one policy from day one, which is the removal of subsidy. You know, if the price of crude oil is going up and we are not producing petroleum here, we are not producing refined products here, and it will mean that the cost of the product will go up, and Nigerians that are used to subsidized products will protest. The unfortunate thing is that we are not even producing enough to export, as in the crude oil, to make more money, and we are not refining here. So those are I feel sorry for him, because from day one, I've been supporting the removal of subsidy. I feel sorry for him there. But talking about the decisions in the central bank, I mean, we are going to have a new CBN governor. From his track record, I think he's a solid guy, somebody with eyes for details. And then, yeah, well, I will cut him some slack for now, but maybe some few months down the road, if we don't see any improvement, and of course, we expect Nigerians will begin to holler.
How do you think that the president should go about this oil issue? Of course, we're still being faced with oil theft, though some improvements have been made there, but yet we're still producing lesser than what we should be producing. And that is not making us make a lot of money, especially with the boom that we've seen in the oil market, at least in the last 2 years. How do you think that the president can approach this, since you said that you've not really seen so many right steps in that direction? Secondly, are you also are you satisfied with the appointments made with what we have right now? That means President Tinubu is Minister of Petroleum Resources, as it were, because the two ministers we have there are for gas resources and for petroleum resources states. So what kind of steps do you expect the president to take in that direction? Or is he going to make the same mistake that President Buhari made as Minister of Petroleum Resources?
Yeah, but that's what I don't understand. If he's an accountant and we have a problem with the economy, I would have thought he would be the finance minister and not petroleum minister. You know, I don't know why they always want to keep that power. I think that's the number one problem we have in this country. They retain that portfolio, and by so doing, they have NNPC in their pocket. And as you and I know, NNPC is used for extra budgetary activities in this country. And as long as we continue to run NNPC like that, NNPC is not going to be profitable. Look at Saudi. They are splashing money all over the place. They are buying players with millions of dollars, are paying them tons of dollars, weekly wages, because they've made so much money from the oil boom in the last 2 years, like you alluded to. While, reverse is the case in Nigeria. So asking about being the petroleum minister, how he's going to manage that sector, especially with regards to cutting down crude oil theft, is actually the lack of courage and will on the part of government. There's no way you will steal a barrel of crude oil without the knowledge of government in this country. So he's the petroleum minister. The box stops on his desk right now. The other time, the Navy talked about chasing an oil tanker into Equatorial Guinea. Nancy, I don't know if you have ever seen those tankers. They crawl. They practically crawl on water, whether empty or they are carrying, or whether they are pregnant, whether they are loaded. So if Navy has 750 horsepower engine, one, so two of them combined, two outboard engine combined is 1,500 horsepower to chase a crude oil tanker that is laden with crude oil. You say you chase them into another country. From Nigeria into Equatorial Guinea, it's not like your backyard in Asoko, So I don't understand. Again, it's the government. If the government is willing to stop the theft of crude oil, it will happen overnight. And we can make great strides there. Because if we have enough to refine here, the last time I was in your studio, I remember saying that I think if government says they want to stop subsidy, for now, they might not be able to stop it, especially with the rising price of crude oil and with the issues we have with the dollar, against the naira. But they can subsidize with crude oil. So if, for example, you are giving the refineries or Dangote refinery, which we hope will come on stream next month now, if you are giving them crude oil at maybe $70 per barrel or $60 per barrel as against the 95 in the market today, there is some subsidy there, So whatever they are selling at the pump price, as the pump price might come down a bit. But to say that we are not even able to meet the OPEC quota is criminal.
So, Honorable, if I get you right, Honorable, if I get you right, of course, the federal government has said that there should be a pause in the price of petrol at the pumps. It made this announcement, I think, a little over a month ago, where Nigerians were anticipating another increase from about 617 naira, which we buy here in Abuja. So that means that there's subsidy payment, or the government is augmenting one way or the other, and we don't know where it's getting that funds from. That's one. The second question also is, you were a member of the Ninth Assembly, and in the Ninth Assembly, we had the PIA Act of 2021, where we also have specific duties and responsibilities for the ministers of petroleum resources, as it were. Now, with the president being even the Minister of Petroleum Resources, is there really a risk there? And what do you think that the members or the National Assembly, this 10th National Assembly, should do in terms of even divesting this power in, of course, the power the president has right now?
Well, okay, talking about the subsidy removal, I think subsidy is back. Now, you remember in the days of Kachuku, when they claimed there was no subsidy because it was not in the budget. They said it was under recovery. Whatever that meant was subsidy. So eventually they came back and they started budgeting for it. So right now there's no budget. There's no cover in the budget for subsidy. So if they are paying the differential, where is that money coming from? So government needs to come clean. Subsidy is back. Whether they have told us officially or not, subsidy is back. They need to let us know how much the landing cost is and how much the differential between the landing cost and how much they sell at the pump price. And okay, there. Talking about PIA, the PIA really, if we run NNPC as a karma company, the president, the minister will not have too much say in how NNPC is managed. But unfortunately, NNPC is a government company. I mean, government has 100% shares. Minister of Finance and Minister of Petroleum Resources, they have 100% shares in NNPC, and it's our money they use in buying the shares. So the minister is going to be controlling NNPC, and like I said earlier, NNPC is used for extra budgetary. So nothing has changed basically, and they have actually made no sense of the PIA. We're supposed to create that independence where NNPC will run like a privately owned company, but that is not happening right now. Until we do that, we divest the government of that stronghold on NNPC, not much will happen. I mean, you talk about, okay, let's talk about the issue of even Indorama. Indorama, as you remember, was a government, was a element, Indorama element petrochemical company. Was a was a government-owned company. You remember it was sold by Obasanjo, and people criticized Obasanjo then that it was a giveaway and all that. If I may remind you, Nancy, under 1 year, Indorama borrowed money from IFC to buy that company. Under 1 year, they did turnaround maintenance and they started making profits. And that was a company that was making losses when it was managed by the government, by NNPC. So, the latitude is there to make the oil industry, the oil industry function under this government. But I do not think President Tinubu should be the petroleum minister. We have people that are smart from the industry that can manage this sector very well. Basically, as a minister, you are giving direction, to the industry, giving direction. I mean, making policies that can make the players interested, and then investors will come in. This issue of you are hearing of NNPC signing $7 billion with Indorama today, $7 billion US dollars for gas, whatever. Tomorrow you say you are talking about Nexim and all that. Let investors come in, bring in their money, create an enabling environment, and the oil industry will bubble again. There's so much happening. With the price of crude oil today, we should not have anything less than 50-something rigs in Nigeria, but we don't even have half of that today. So, petroleum minister doing what? Is it just entitled? I don't understand.
But are you inspired that we have a minister of gas resources now, especially as we're still in the decade of gas, and attention is really moving away from oil and moving to, other areas such as gas. So with us having a minister of gas resources, you just mentioned earlier, NNPC Limited signed a memorandum of understanding with Indorama over the weekend to harness about 800 million cubic feet of gas. I think that deal is coming at about $7 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So things like this, are you really inspired by it?
Well, like you have always heard, Nigeria is a gas country, gas producing country. We have a huge reserve and the potentials are there. Yes, well, should I say I'm excited that we have a Minister of State for gas? If you really have a competent minister, we don't need Minister of State for gas. If you have a competent minister that understands the terrain, that understands the industry, after all, at the end of the day, the buck stops on the desk of the president. You see reports to the president, just like you have all ministers reporting to him. But in any case, it's a good thing. If we can harness the gas potentials we have in this country, I mean, it's huge. The potential is huge. Now power. We come to my state, Edo, Benin City, where I am now. We have the largest onshore gas in Nigeria. So there's no reason why all the manufacturing companies should not be here. This is a gateway state. To go to manufacture and send to the east and to the southwest, and further down to our brothers in the south, and of course even to the north. But I think the policies of government in the past and the fact that you don't have the enabling environment for people to invest is really challenging. We have the gas, but there's no infrastructure. So, yeah, maybe I should say I'm excited that we have a Minister of State for gas. Maybe that will help if he knows what the industry is all about and has the cooperation of the president, to do the right thing. The issue with the industry has always been the government. Nothing else. It has always been the government. Whether NPC is functioning well or it's been the government. Whether the IOCs or even the independents or the marginal field owners are allowed to operate well, it's been policies of government. So I hope this time around they will be serious and allow us to get it right.
Okay, Honorable, finally, Labour is really threatening fire and brimstone. I don't know if you followed the developments yesterday where the NLC president and his team met with the Minister of Labour and the Minister of State for Labour, and that meeting ended in a deadlock. What are your sentiments concerning Labour's demands and concerning what the federal government is saying? Because it also seems to us that Labour is divided, as it were. The TUC met with the two ministers, while the president was abroad in India, NLC came to meet the two ministers yesterday, and the meeting ended in a deadlock. From all indications now, there might be, if it's not resolved, there might be a total shutdown of the economy in a few days' time, according to Labour. So what do you think about that?
Well, the government doesn't really have too much to offer Labour right now, but I think a bit of sincerity on both sides will help. You know, I mean, in my days in the private sector, I had two unions in my company, the Pegasan and New Peng. They are not so easy to manage. I mean, then under TUC and Pegasan, you know, they're not so easy to manage. What a bit of sincerity would do. Now, the president came on board. On his inauguration day, he said he was removing subsidy. It took Labour to even start talking about CNG. How come government never looked into that? You know, like we have criticized the president. You announced removal of subsidy without thinking about palliatives. So it has to be Labour now to compel you to talk about palliatives for the people you are governing, people you campaign to say you are coming to assuage their sufferings. You know, so a bit of honesty on both sides, government and Labour, will help. You know, the government can't do a whole lot right now because the economy is in a mess. They don't have the money to offer. Labour wants minimum wage of 200,000 naira per month. Is that a lot of money? No, it's not. You know, but can the government pay? The government cannot pay that. So, but what do? If those in government can lead by example, Labour will also see that, look, they say we should tighten our belt. So let's tighten this belt together. Maybe over time, when we begin to shed some weight, we will all reap the benefits of this. But if those in government are not tightening their belt, and you are telling the poor man that any minimum wage of 30,000 to tighten his belt, how would that work? We are celebrating the what's it called now, the visa restriction removal. Although that one, they are trying to clarify that from the Emirates, from UAE. How does that benefit the poor man, for example? It's only those that go on holiday in Dubai that benefits, whether Emirates is coming here and whether Etihad is coming here. How does that benefit the poor man? I mean, I'm sorry to say, I have investment in Dubai, which I got long before I got into government, you know, but it does not excite me that you have removed visa restrictions, you know. So let's talk about the common man in this country, you know.
Okay. I think we'll leave it at that for now, Honorable. Thank you very much for joining us. And have a lovely day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I've been speaking with Honorable Sergius Ogun, who was a former lawmaker, a former member of the House of Representatives. That's the show today. Please join us again tomorrow for another edition of the program. Be the best you can be and be that change that you want to see. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Nancy Naji is my name. Bye now.